Today, I'm going to show you how to be more creative in your voiceover reads, and I'm going to share some mind-blowing insights from one of the most legendary creative minds in the music industry, Rick Rubin. Now, you might be thinking, Jesse, what the hell does a music producer have to do with voiceover? Well, here's the thing. This is going to sound crazy, but most voice actors think creativity is just about having a good voice or nailing the technical stuff. That's complete BS. There's a lot more to it. I have been obsessing over how the most successful creatives work across every industry, and they all follow the same principles. Rick Rubin has worked with everyone from Johnny Cash to Jay-Z to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and his approach to creativity, it's going to completely change how you think about voiceover performance. Trust me. When I was watching his interview with Andrew Huberman on the Huberman podcast, it blew my mind. And check out his book. It's pretty fucking awesome too. So in this video, I'm going to break down Rick's proven creative framework and show you exactly how you can apply it to your voiceover career. This is the stuff that separates the voice actors who book consistently from the ones who struggle to get noticed. By the way, I'm Jesse Carroll. I've been doing voiceover for over 7 years. I've made over $1 million doing this. I'm the voice of Backroad Truckers on History and Hulu channel, and I run one of the best voiceover communities and course. Let me rephrase that. I run the best online voiceover community and course, VoiceOver School. And this voiceover stuff, it's literally all I do. I do it all for you guys to try and help you get ahead in voiceover. So I'm breaking Rick's method down into 6 points. Point 1, creativity as authentic expression. And this one alone is going to revolutionize your approach to voiceover. Rick says creativity should be like writing a diary entry, completely personal and honest. No filters, no trying to sound like someone else, just pure, authentic expression. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I've been saying about being a real ass person in voiceover, completely being yourself, no apologies at all, just being real. Everybody in VoiceOver School watching this right now is laughing because I say real ass person way too much. But it's true. You want to be a real person. You don't want to sound like someone else. You don't want to sound like me. You want to be you. When I'm coaching actors, I'll give them an example just to give them a hint of where I think the script's going, but I say, do not copy my approach. That's personal to me. You come up with your own. And here's what most voice actors screw up royally. They think they need to put on this announcer voice or copy what they hear on commercials. For the love of God, just stop doing that. Listen, I highly recommend watching other voiceover reads, professional VOs doing their thing to get inspiration and see the different ways that you can approach a script. Don't copy what they're doing. You want to come at it from your own point of view. Next time you watch a good voiceover, think like, hey, how would I approach it? See, listen for how little they do. Listen to how they honestly and authentically connect with you by being themselves. And I promise you, the clients who are booking voice actors right now, they want real people. They want authenticity. They want you. Not some generic voice actor robot that sounds like everyone else. So here's how this works in practice. When you get a script, don't ask yourself, how should this sound? Ask yourself, how would I naturally say this if I was talking to who? You guessed it, your best friend. That's it. That's simple. I know it's a cliche in voiceover, but when you're talking to your best friend, your actual legit best friend, are you thinking about, oh, how am I gonna say this to them? I'm gonna perform the shit out of this conversation. No, you just talk naturally. I get a clear picture of who I'm talking to, and I think to myself, not just talk to my best friend, but if I was to deliver this in the way of a voiceover, would they call me on it? Would they be like, are you doing like a voiceover right now? When I used to do stand-up comedy, what we would do is we would, memorize our jokes because we write them down ahead of time. They're not always improv, even though you do that in a live show sometimes, but you have your over arc of your whole performance already planned out, all the jokes you're going to say, and you can kind of interchange the way that they go. But generally speaking, you want them all laid out ahead of time. And I will try and throw a joke into a conversation with someone, memorize it, and I'll just slide it in there. The goal is to not let them catch that you're doing a joke, because then you don't sound real. It doesn't sound like it's coming off the top of your head. You never want to sound performed in comedy, and you don't want to sound performed in voiceover. You want to sound like you're talking to one person, your best friend. Super simple, really hard to do in practice in the beginning. Gets easier as you go. And you see, the thing is, your unique voice and personality, that's your competitive advantage. That's what makes you different from the thousands of other voice actors out there. Rick Rubin gets this. He doesn't try to make every artist sound the same. He helps them find their authentic voice. And you know what? When you're being authentically you can't be replaced. Nobody else can be you. That's your superpower right there. Point number 2, overcoming creative blocks. Now let's talk about what we all run into, creative blocks, because every voice actor hits them. And Rick Rubin has the best advice I've ever heard on this. Rick says that creative blocks usually come from self-doubt or fear of judgment. Sound familiar? How many times have you sat in your booth, second guessing every single take because you're worried it's not good enough or it's not what the client wants and you want to be perfect, you're chasing perfection. I see this all the time with voice actors. They get so caught up in trying to please everyone that they lose their natural instincts. They overthink every single word instead of just trusting their gut. Now here's Rick's solution, and it is brilliant. Create for yourself first, not for others. Stop worrying about the client might think or what other voice actors are doing. Just focus on you. Here's what I want you to do. Next time you're struggling with a script, record it like you're just talking to yourself, not even to your best friend. Don't even think about the client. Just have a conversation with the script. It sounds insane, but I am 100% serious. What do you want to do with it? Take some liberties. Just go nuts. The crazy thing is, when you stop trying so hard to be perfect, that's usually when you nail it. I've had some of my best bookings come from takes where I just relaxed and let my personality shine through. No joke. That's how I booked Back Road Truckers. I'd never done a docu-series before. I looked at their direction and I was like, okay, that's all right. But I was like, what do I want to do with this? I'm probably not going to get it. And that was my superpower. I just like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to get it, but I do want it. So let's just be me. And I fucking yelled that shit like I was performing at a rock concert. And they were like, yeah. And I got it. It worked out really well. Because when you're being authentically you, it's unmistakable. And then you're competing against no one. I was going to say one person, but no one, because you're not, well, I mean, you're kind of competing against yourself sometimes, but that's a video for another time. When you are being authentically yourself, there is no competition. Rick talks about the concept of beginner's mind, approaching each project like you're discovering it for the first time. That curiosity, the openness, that's where the magic happens in voiceover. That's when you stop sounding like a voice actor and start sounding like a real ass person. You know, when I'm doing my 50, 60 auditions a day, I can get caught up in the moment of like things that are happening of the day, what I'm gonna get for groceries, what I'm gonna make for dinner later on, and just kind of go through the motions of doing the scripts. And I always have to stop myself and be like, whoa. What if I was doing this for the first time? Sure, it's another one of those explainer videos that I see all day, every day, and I kind of generally know how they go, but I'm like, well, this one's different. This one's unique. They're all unique. What's my unique approach on this? And, you know, every time I do that, like right away, I start booking again. You know, the beginning of May, first week was kind of slow for me. And then I did that stuff that I was talking about in the AI video. I cloned my voice and then saw like, I learned, you know, the way that we beat AI is just being ourselves more authentically than ever because it could never reproduce it. And I started approaching every single script with my own personal authenticity and creativity and just adding as much of that into each script as I could. And I booked like 9 jobs that week. Point number 3, daily practice for creativity. All right, here's something Rick Rubin does that most people don't know about, and it's going to change how you approach your voiceover practice. Rick has been meditating since he was a teenager. Now, before you think Jesse's going all meditation guru woo-woo on us, hear me out. This isn't about sitting cross-legged, chanting mantras or whatever you think meditation is. Rick uses meditation and mindfulness to clear mental clutter and stay present. And in voiceover, being present it's everything. You can't connect with a script if your mind is racing about your bills or whatever you're having to do for dinner or whatever you remember, if you remember to feed your dog. Sorry, Heather. I don't forget to feed the dog. I swear to God, she thinks I do. I feed the dog, I promise. I may have been an hour late once. Now, here's what this looks like practically. Before you start any voiceover session, just take 5 minutes to just breathe and center yourself. Clear your head of all the noise. I know it sounds simple, but it works. Trust me. I do 15 minutes twice a day. My reads have become more natural, more connected. Clients started commenting on how present I sounded in my auditions. Yeah, like they could actually hear the difference. It's true. Meditation is a game changer. Now, here's one I didn't think about. Rick also talks about the importance of natural light and maintaining a calm environment. Your booth setup matters as much as your mental space matters. And if you're stressed and scattered, it comes through in your voice. Trust me on this. So as soon as I found this out, aside from the meditation, I cleaned the shit out of my booth. There was a bunch of clutter in there. I got it out. I organized my cables. The place looks amazing now. The thing is, creativity isn't just about talent. It's about creating the right conditions for the talent to just flow. Rick understands this better than almost anyone. Some of you might be thinking, I don't have time for meditation. But here's the reality. 5 minutes, that's it, just 5 minutes. Centering yourself will save you hours of recording because you'll nail it faster when you're focused and you'll edit way quicker. It's simple math. Get part of your day back by spending 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes meditating. That'll make a huge difference. Point number 4, we're gonna be embracing uncertainty and organic development. What do I mean by this? Now here's where Rick Rubin's approach really gets interesting and is something that will completely change how you approach voiceover scripts. Rick talks about being open to uncertainty and letting projects develop organically. He doesn't force a predetermined outcome. He lets the creative process guide him. And I'm like, This is exactly what I've been trying to tell voice actors for years. Most voice actors do the exact opposite. They read a script once, decide how it should sound, and then try to force that interpretation. But here's the thing. The best reads often come from unexpected places. I want you to try this. When you get a new script, don't analyze it to death. Read it through a few times and see what naturally emerges. Let the words guide you instead of forcing them into some predetermined box. I remember when I first started doing voiceover and I first started trying to interpret scripts, and I had this big light bulb moment. I was working on the script for this tech company. I had this whole serious corporate approach planned out. When I just started reading it naturally, the slightly playful tone came out, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going with that. It felt a little risky, but I went with it. I submitted it, and guess what? I booked it. And that's when I had the light bulb moment. And the client said it was exactly what they're looking for, but couldn't put it into words. Your interpretation matters. Just because it says it's a tech company or a corporate or a legal, it doesn't mean it has to be serious. Don't do what you think is a cliche version of that industry, of that business, of that script. Put your own personality into it. That's what books. Rick calls this following the song, letting the material tell you what it wants to be instead of imposing your will on it. In voiceover, that means trusting your instincts and being open to surprises. This approach takes all the pressure off. You're not trying to nail some perfect predetermined performance. You're just exploring and seeing what happens. It's actually kind of fun when you approach it that way. You never know what the script is going to be. And I can tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, new people, when they look at a script, they try to do a cliche of it. If it's a business script, they're going to try and sound like a real business person. I'm being corporate. If it's a fun script, they're going to be over the top fun. What's your version of that? Don't take things at script value. Look into the script. Let it tell you what it wants to be and put your personality into it and just be open to play. And some of you that watch this channel know that I've recently been really trying to book video games and animation, and I'm starting to get places. I'm working on a few things I can't talk about yet. And I can tell you right now that this approach is especially powerful for character work. Instead of deciding this character sounds like this character sounds like that, let the character reveal themselves to you as you read. Some of my best character voices lately come from just playing around and seeing what emerges. It also helps when you work with Mark Grau, who pulls that kind of stuff out of you too. Mark Grau is amazing for video games animation. If you're interested in learning video games animation, I highly suggest working with him. He's in our community as well. We bring him in and he coaches video games animation inside VoiceOver School. Links below, check it out. Point number 5, collaboration and honest feedback. Here's something Rick Rubin does that every voice actor needs to understand: his approach to collaboration and honest feedback. Rick describes his role as a facilitator in the creative process. He helps artists overcome resistance and focus on making the best work possible. And he does this through radical honesty and openness. No sugarcoating, no BS, just telling you how it is. Now, in voiceover, you might think that you're working alone in your booth, but you're actually collaborating all the time with clients, directors, and even the script itself. Here's where most voice actors mess this up. They're so afraid of criticism that they don't seek out honest feedback. They just keep doing the same thing over and over, wondering why they're not booking more. It's insane. It's actually quite insane. The definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I built VoiceOver School specifically around this principle and to stop the insanity. We give each other honest, constructive feedback that's positive. We don't want to tear anybody down, but because that's how you grow. You want honest, positive feedback. Sugarcoating doesn't help anyone, but you do need to keep it positive. Otherwise, people, we're artists. We're sensitive. We'll be like, oh, you don't like I suck. So there's a way to give feedback and there's a way not to give feedback, but it needs to be honest, but you need to be positive. That doesn't mean sugarcoat. So instead of saying, hey, your read was terrible, you can say, hey, your read you've got a lot of improvement to do. But we'll tell you. And that's how you get better. That's how you get better. Did I say bitter? We give honest, positive feedback. Now, the one thing I don't know if I agree totally with, it's Rick Rubin, but he talks about creating an environment where honesty is valued over politeness. I think you need to be polite when you're giving your feedback still. I don't totally agree with Rick that way, because harsh criticism that's not thoughtful, that can lead to people shutting down, especially artists. In your voiceover career, this means finding people who will tell you the truth about your performance, not just what you want to hear, but make sure they're doing it in a positive way. I remember when I first started, I thought I was nailing these dramatic reads and nailing these commercial reads. And then I got some feedback from my first voice actor coach, Noel. I was doing a Heineken commercial, and he just looked at me and he was like, no, oh my God, no, Jesse, listen, you're great, but that was not a good read because you were doing an announcer voice. You want to come from your own point of view. So that was criticism that I was like, it stung a little bit, but it was exactly what I needed to hear because he said it in a positive way and also told me how to improve at the same time, not just telling me that I stunk and, I should quit voiceover, quit my dream, and move on back to comedy. See, the thing is, even though I don't totally agree with his radical honesty approach, Rick does talk about giving feedback and creating space for artists to discover their own solutions. As a voice actor, you need to develop this skill too. When a client gives you direction, don't just mechanically follow it. Understand what they're really asking for and find your own way to deliver it. This is why building relationships in the industry is so important. You want to work with people who challenge you to be better, not just people who tell you you're awesome all the time. Positive feedback, but real feedback. If you gotta grow, we're gonna tell you. And the final point, number 6, technology as a tool, not a crutch. What do I mean by that? Here's Rick's take on technology that every voice actor needs to hear, especially with all the AI stuff happening right now. A lot of that going on. A lot of it can help you. Some of it, not so developed as much. But Rick appreciates technology for the access to information it provides, but he's also aware of its potential for distractions. He uses technology as a tool, but remains mindful of its impact on his creative process. He's a smart guy. You can't just use it as a crutch. Do you want to put a whole bunch of processors into your room because the sound isn't perfect, or do you want to do it right in the first place? Not leaning on technology. You can use technology to enhance, like for instance, if you're doing marketing over social media in your voiceover business, you might use ChatGPT. I've got into something called Poppy AI recently, which is really cool. There's a lot of neat tools out there, but you still want the base of it to be you. Don't just tell ChatGPT, write me a social media post, make me a thing. You gotta direct it yourself. In voiceover, we're surrounded by technology, our recording equipment, editing software, online platforms. But here's the thing. Technology should enhance your creativity, not replace it. That's what I'm trying to say. I see voice actors getting so caught up in having the perfect microphone or the latest plugin that they forget the most important element, their performance. Your gear matters, sure, but your creativity matters way more. A new person could have a U87, you could give me a USB mic and I will beat the pants off of them. Don't get a USB mic. I'm just saying that the performance is the most important part. Rick's approach is to use technology purposefully. Don't let it overwhelm the creative process. I've heard stellar voiceover work recorded on basic setups, and I've heard terrible work recorded in million-dollar studios. It's not about the gear. With AI becoming a bigger picture in the industry, Rick's philosophy is even more relevant than ever. AI can replicate technical aspects, but it can't replicate authentic human creativity and connection. I know this because I tried it recently. Check out my video. Prush put it up on the screen over there, somewhere around there. Just check the links below. And I show you when I tried to clone my voice to do my auditions for me, what the result was. And it was less than stellar. Sure, it sounded like me, but it didn't have my soul. It didn't have my authenticity. And I'm highly creative when I do my voiceover reads, and it couldn't do it. This is actually great news for voice actors who embrace creativity. While some people are panicking about AI, the voice actors who focus on bringing genuine human creativity to their work, they're gonna thrive. All the people who just deliver just monotone, generic reads that sound like everybody else, they're gonna get wiped out. You need to start developing your unique, creative, personality-driven reads right now. The key is to use technology to amplify your creativity, not to hide behind it. Editing skills, your gear, your process, all of that should serve your creative vision, not define it. All right, this has been a super long one, so we're gonna wrap it up. We covered Rick Rubin's approach to creativity and how it applies to voiceover, authentic expression and overcoming roadblocks through self-focus, daily practice for mental clarity, embracing uncertainty, honest collaboration, and using technology purposefully. The thing is, creativity isn't some mystical talent that you either have or you don't. It's a practice. That's all it is. And Rick Rubin has shown us the roadmap. Your voice, your personality, your unique way of interpreting scripts, that's your creative signature. Don't hide it, don't apologize for it, and definitely don't try to sound like everyone else. I highly recommend watching Rick Rubin's video with Andrew Huberman on the Huberman podcast. Amazing. He's done a couple now. Game-changing every time if you're into creativity, and just a good podcast to listen to. And his book is absolutely stellar as well. Now, in terms of voiceover, if you want to dive deeper into this stuff and get feedback on your creative development, come check out VoiceOver School. We're all about helping voice actors find their authentic, creative, and natural voice and actually book work. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Drop a comment. Let me know. What's your biggest creative challenge in voiceover? I read every single comment. I try to reply to as many as I can. I've made some videos about answering answering your questions. I might do some more. So until next time, keep being awesome. And remember, your creativity is your competitive advantage. I've been Jesse Carroll. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, subscribe. And this has been another video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.